The actual dry cleaning machine was back in the next room, but whatever leaked either ran below the concrete and down into the ground, or there could have been a pipe that leaked. Could be a drain pipe that leaked. We haven't found some of that stuff yet. We're still trying to determine that.
In March 2008, an indoor air survey in one of the buildings that once housed the AJ commercial laundry business showed that there was heavy contamination of perchloroethylene, or PCE, a toxic solvent used in dry cleaning. The PCE levels were 240 micrograms per cubic meter, more than 3 times as much as the commercial California human health screening levels allow. The site is surrounded by homes.
Respiratory problems, I think it might affect your blood pressure, heart, that kind of thing. But I think the major risk from solvents is the carcinogenic risk, or the cancer risk in the long term. So if you're working in a plant like this for years and years and you're breathing PCE solvents, you have a chance of developing cancer.
There's always somebody that will ask questions. Is it getting into my vegetable garden? Is it getting into my fruit tree? Am I breathing it in my house? That kind of thing. And more or less the data that we've collected here so far pretty much indicates that it's localized. Now, the main companies at this site were Commercial Laundry, which was in the building to the left here, and on the other side was a different property owner early on, and the major company on this side was a furniture manufacturer. And then the people with the laundry bought the furniture manufacturer's property, and the laundry eventually spread to the entire site. It ran up until about 8 years ago. Towards the end of their operation here, they did do some dry cleaning, and that's where we think the PCE came from. What we're doing here right now is pointed mainly towards the intrusion of the vapors into indoor air and people breathing it.
There probably was a problem when it was operating. But you know,
that's all speculation.
But that's speculation, and I don't know. I mean, it could be that when they closed the business down, in order to get rid of all the chemicals that they had, or it could have spilled in. So I don't really know if the spillage occurred while the plant was operating or after. You don't know. It's hard to say.
Most of the buildings were used for storage, so people would come in and out and load and unload. But as far as physical occupancy, especially in the area of the hotspot, it was used for storage. So no, there weren't really people that were getting exposed daily per se. Luckily.
The AJ commercial laundry site was reported to be contaminated in 1996. But it wasn't until February 2010 that the PCE extraction process began.
The investigation process usually does take a number of years at most sites. In some cases, like this one, it was reported to a local agency, then that agency was taken out of the picture, it went to another agency, and eventually, based on the data generated, it will go to the proper agency, which in this case was DTSC.
But people don't admit these kind of things because they know they'd be liable. So people just don't come forward and say, yeah, we dumped gallons of, of PCE into this trench in the back of the building.
According to California's Proposition 65, businesses that spill contaminants must report to the Department of Toxic Substances Control. But reporting means that they have to pay to clean it up. Consequently, most cases of PCE spills are brought to the attention of the DTSC through lawsuits or a party interested in selling the property, if they are reported at all.
The polluter pays. The public policy decision made at the time was that the public as a body should not have to pay for the sins of others. If there's an incentive for saying, woo, my property is contaminated, the incentive is you want to sell it or you want to reuse it.
Solid sites like this can be huge amounts of money. It can be $1 million or $2 million sometimes.
Sometimes people just can't pay a mom and pop dry cleaner. But it's a case where we can't find a responsible party anybody who potentially contributed to the contamination is responsible under federal law. It's a principle called joint and several liability. So we can go after anyone that was associated with it, even if it's like lead in the soil that came from batteries. the person who sold the batteries, the person who made the batteries. We can go all the way through the line.
I don't know what happened to AJ Commercial Laundry, you know, who the operators were, but I don't think that they're on the scene. As far as I know, the owner of the property is paying for everything. Sometimes it takes a long time to clean it up, and I know there's a lot of frustration among the owners of the property, because they'll say, well, we didn't know, we just rented the property to this dry cleaner, it's not our fault. Yeah, but you know, that's the way the law is written, and probably if they weren't going to make money on the property, they wouldn't be doing the cleanup anyway.
Our sites come to our attention in a number of ways. We used to go out and actively look for them because they were pretty easy to find. You know, just sort of look for an old junkyard and you know you're going to have some problems. Now, more often now, we have people, redevelopment agencies, developers, people coming to us. I think there's about 100 and some, maybe more than that. We call them orphan sites because we don't have any responsible parties for them.
Orphan sites are cleaned using a state general fund, which provides $10 million a year for PCE cleanups. Fuel spills, on the other hand, are cleaned with a special tank fund.
It was just such a widespread problem, and there were lots of small people, mom and pop stores that had a fuel tank with a gas dispenser that were going to be more or less ruined and put out of business if they had to clean up on their own. It's 2 cents per gallon of the taxes collected on gasoline, and that collects something like $100 million a year. And they actually will have budgets of up to $1.5 million, but rarely do I exceed $500,000 on the biggest sites that I've worked on.
Our department is responsible for the governor's green chemistry initiative. So when you ask us a question about, do you think it would be better to use something other than PCE or TCE for dry cleaning solvents, the answer to that is yeah.
California banned PCE in 2007, and the last PCE machines are expected to be removed from service by January 1st, 2023. About 80% of dry cleaners in the U.S. still use PCE, but some are turning to greener alternatives.
I bought this shop in 2003, and at that time the PERC was the only solution for the dry cleaning, and later the technology went up, so they created hydrocarbon, and when I found out, I tried to get that machine because it's good for my health and my customers' health. When I went to the doctor, everything was fine. I don't know about the future. I hope not.
The problem with the hydrocarbon solution that Mr. Behestein buys, which is provided by Chevron, is that it also contains suspected carcinogenic and known neurotoxin chemicals and also contributes to smog.
You come out with something green, but oh wait, you didn't really look at the fact that it might be doing something else. Perfect example in my mind is asbestos. Asbestos, it's a flame retardant. Saved thousands, if not millions of lives, but it causes some serious health problems. So they replaced it with another flame retardant. This stuff called polybrominated dimethyl ethers that's showing up everywhere. It's showing up in falcon eggs, it's showing up in human breast milk, but the idea is it shouldn't be there. Right?